Okay, hi. Let's see, it's Saturday, almost 1:30 here on the East Coast. Um, I wanted to do a quick video that would recap some of the material from the week and sort of have a lead into week 13. I'm doing this in part because I noticed that four more students haven't handed in the assignment this week. Um, and I also got some phone calls from other students about this assignment, and so it seems to be problematic for some of you. Therefore, two things there. One, if you haven't handed it in yet, don't worry. Please hand it in ASAP. I'll actually be marking them on Monday, so you have a window there. Okay. Um, the second thing then, I just want to think back about this evaluation assignment and put it in the larger context of the course and also Professor Robinson's typically excellent lecture this week. And the one thing I saw at the beginning of his lecture, he talks about how the evaluation uh, really does have to link back to your statement of need. In other words, um, the whole point of everything you've done hopefully starts with your statement of need and your theory of change and how what you're going to do is actually going to meet that need. And you go through all the steps, and then at the end, you come back in your evaluation and say, okay, we've circled around all these things, the need, and all these process things, the budget things, the implementation things, and now, boom, we're back to we're at the end with the evaluation, but we're really back at the beginning, because the evaluation should essentially uh, uh, make an evaluation of whether or not all the things you've done, said you were going to do, have actually gotten done, and if by doing all the things you said you'd do, you actually had an impact on the need that you said you were going to try to address in the opening need statement. Okay, so I'm going to digress just a second then and talk about this course. In other words, if this course was a project that I was going to try to get a grant funding for, what would I have to do? Yeah, okay. You can see that pretty good, yeah? Okay. I'm going to hold it here so I can actually read it and talk at the same time. Okay? So the first thing I would do, right, is to make sure that I addressed my grant to a funder, or I found a funder who would be interested um, in funding the course. Okay? And then the second thing I would do is talk about the need. And there's a need for students to learn how to write a quality proposal, and if they get one, how to manage it, right? Uh, and that's why we have this course, essentially. And so the theory of change then is, okay, if students need to learn how to write a quality proposal and manage it if they get it, then we're going to try to say that if they in fact take this course, PSAA 636, then they'll know how to write they'll come out the other end, let's say, knowing how to write a quality proposal and how to manage it. Okay? And so that's sort of in your need statement. That's the need that needs to be addressed, and this is how we're going to address it. Okay, but now let's get into some details. In order to have students take the course and come out the other end knowing how to write a quality proposal and manage the project, what do we have to do? Well, this is a very simplified list of tasks. You have to design the course, you have to hire a proposal, have to enroll students, you have to conduct all 15 weeks of the course, you have to have the students actually complete the course and all of its assignments, and hopefully then at the end, right, the change will have occurred. Now, we spent different times in the course, right, talking about the tasks, the competencies needed for each task, the, uh, the predecessors of the task in terms of what has to happen before other tasks. We had assignments of responsibilities, and then we had a Gantt chart, right, in terms of the whole sequence out over the 15 weeks. And to an extent, right, the syllabus is pretty much the Gantt chart, right, because it tells week by week by week what's going to happen once we get into the course. Okay, now along with this project, there's obviously a budget, and there are lots of expenses. There's the professor's salary. There's all the support staff on campus who support both me and students in this course. And I'm sure there's lots of other things in there we could have listed, but I didn't do it for this exercise. But in this particular budget, we do have revenues that come from student tuitions, but that probably doesn't cover the full cost of this project. That's why, way up here, I looked for a funder who was going to help fund the course, and I'm writing this proposal to them. So somewhere down here, there is some of these costs and expenses of the project are covered by your tuition, but there's probably another column that says, for funding required from the grant, okay, as it relates to these different expense lines, okay? And so, right, you had an initial assignment to find a funder. You had a second assignment to do the need. You had a third assignment talking about tasks. You had a fourth assignment talking about the budget. Did I do this right? And there's going to be another assignment here. I think I did that wrong, but you get the point. You've worked on this, you've worked on your budget, and then we're going to, at the end here, work on your evaluation. And there was a question in the discussion forum this week about the difference between process and outcomes. And a process evaluation is simply, what did we do, right? What tasks did we implement in order to implement the project, right? So again, you can sort of go back to here, the tasks, and then, tasks, right? All those tasks, and you can say, well, did we do all those tasks? Okay, and the other nice thing that Professor Robinson does is he makes a distinction between monitoring whether we did all those tasks and a process evaluation, which asks two things. Did we do all those things? And secondly, how well did we do them? There's a qualitative aspect to a process evaluation as opposed to just a check off that typically occurs with just monitoring. Okay, so that's the process evaluation, and then we have the outcome evaluation is essentially, well, if we did all these things in the process, did anything change? Did anything change because of what we did? And again, this change has to loop back to the need we said we were going to address in our need statement way back in the beginning. And so, reading from my notes here just a little bit, the project, each part of the each part of the project has to coherently fit together with what came before it and what follows, and through this consistently logical procession, build to a crescendo at the end of the project, or end of the proposal, that screams to the grantor, this organization knows what it is doing. Let me read that again because that was terrible. So each subsequent section of the proposal has to coherently fit with what came before it and what follows. And through this consistent logically built procession, it builds to a crescendo at the end that screams to the grantor, this organization knows what it is doing. Okay? And that's really what you're trying to do in your final paper. You want to put together these elements that we've done individually and have them be very consistent and build to the end of your proposal. And at each point, you are basically reinforcing to the grantor that you're trying to get money from, that in fact you really know what you're doing and that you've thought about it, your logic is tight, and if the grantor gives you money, the grantor can be confident that in fact the need that you address at the outcome, the theory of change that you hope to implement, is clearly understood by you, and that you've really planned out all the tasks that are involved in the project that you hope will address the need, that you have clearly estimated the budget costs properly, and that at the end you have a really tight evaluation process so that you'll be able to report back to the funder that yes, indeed, I did implement the plan that I told you I was going to implement, and the extent to which you impacted the need based upon the implementation that you performed. Now, that was sort of freelance there. Hopefully that was okay. But the other thing specifically, I want to just point out, right, that in the Hall book, right, it has down here very detailed, oops, where am I? I'm on the wrong side. Yeah. Right here at the bottom of page 352, it has specific steps for how you design your process evaluation. Right? So in your assignment this week, you should have all these steps. Right? And likewise, here on page 355, it has the very, what does it say? Outcome evaluation planning steps. Okay? And here then it has, oops, right? How many steps? It looks like 10 steps there, right? That you should have as part of your outcome evaluation. And so essentially the assignment this week was simply to follow the cookbook and apply it to your particular project. All right? Okay. So that's about all I really had to say. Hopefully it was helpful, and hopefully I'll see good things on Monday when I read your papers. Again, oh, and just the very last thing. I put this in a written note to you today, but I hope that I'll just emphasize it here. Written note meaning a written announcement, but I'll put it here as well. Please listen to or rewatch the end of Professor Robinson's lecture for week 12. Toward the end there, he talks about the length of the assignment, final assignment, and he gives you guidelines for the length of different sections. Okay? I haven't taught this course before, so I'm not sure what... I don't have any preconceived notions about what the final assignment should actually look like, but I'm going to go by the guidance I'm getting from Professor Robinson in his lecture there. So if you have questions about that, please give me a call as well. All right? Again, the phone number, if you need it, is 413-237-7475. Okay? All right. So that's all for now. Hope things are well. hope you get some time this weekend to enjoy what in the Northeast here is a nice beginning of spring. And if you're uh, celebrating holidays, I hope you're enjoying them as well. Okay, thanks.